Ratatouille is a heartwarming and visually captivating animated film from the renowned animation studio Pixar. The film seamlessly blends an engaging story, stunning animation, and a love for fine cuisine into an unforgettable cinematic experience. Set in the enchanting backdrop of Paris, Ratatouille introduces us to Remy, a rat with an extraordinary palate and an insatiable passion for cooking. The film brilliantly challenges the stereotypical notions associated with rats and presents Remy as an aspiring chef, determined to create culinary masterpieces that tantalize the taste buds. The concept itself is unique and refreshing, allowing the audience to empathize with a character they might otherwise shy away from. The film begins with a TV documentary about Chef Auguste Gusteau, the top restaurant owner in Paris and the youngest chef to obtain a 5-star rating in France. Additionally, he is the author of a well-known cookbook that proudly displays the slogan, "Anyone can cook." Remy the rat starts off with a speech on his life. Remy claims he has improved taste and smell senses, which causes him to be extremely picky about what he consumes. When Remy shows that he can smell rat poison in or near food, his brother Emile is awed by the skill, but their father Django, the colony's leader, is unconcerned. Remy is assigned the task of smelling and evaluating food for the rest of the tribe by Django. Remy would rather go to the kitchen and take the fresh samples rather than forcing the rats to scavenge food from the trash. Remy and the rest of the tribe are forbidden from communicating with humans by Django, who despises and is afraid of them. In defiance of his father's wishes, Remy spends a number of evenings reading Chef Gusteau's cookbook and watching cooking-related television shows in the home of an elderly woman named Mabel. He quickly gains close to expert-level proficiency in food preparation. Remy brings Emile into the kitchen one day so they can collect some spices to match with some other culinary samples they had gathered. Despite his hesitation, Emile decides to accompany his brother. Remy observes Gusteau on television while he is inside and listens in, but he soon discovers that Anton Ego, a renowned food critic with ruthlessly high standards, gave Gusteau's restaurant a less-than-ideal review, causing the establishment to lose one of its 5 stars. Gusteau, who was grieving, passed away shortly after, and as is customary, another star was lost. Remy wakes Mabel by accident after hearing of Gusteau's passing, and she then uses a shotgun to try to kill him and Emile. Although they are able to avoid her, the house's roof is shot several times and collapses, exposing the entire rat colony. Everyone is instructed to leave by Django, but Remy stays behind to get Gusteau's book. The rats successfully escape into a river on little rafts. Although Remy utilizes the cookbook as a flotation device, a swift river in the sewers causes him to become separated from the gang. Remy waits for his friends and family for hours while reading a cookbook. Remy starts to have hallucinations that the cartoon version of Chef Gusteau is speaking to him due to a combination of grief, loneliness, and hunger. Gusteau exhorts Remy to ascend through the sewers and discover his current location. Remy makes his way through a number of pipes before realizing he is in Paris, right in front of Gusteau's restaurant. Inside Gusteau's, Alfredo Linguini, the son of Chef Gusteau's recently departed former flame Renata, meets the restaurant's new executive chef Skinner. Skinner receives the position of plunger, or garbage boy, and is put to work right away after Linguini offers him a letter from his mother in the hopes that it will help him land a job at the restaurant. Remy notices Linguini unintentionally tipping over a pot of soup and making an effort to hide it by adding random ingredients as he monitors the activity in the kitchen. Remy panics and unintentionally enters the restaurant through the skylight because he knows the mixture Linguini has created would be disastrous. He attempts to flee via an open window but is unsuccessful after smelling the soup. Outraged, he adds his own components to the concoction. However, motivated by a vision of Gusteau, continues to prepare the soup. However, Linguini catches him and imprisons him beneath a bowl before anyone else discovers him. Skinner chews down Linguini after spotting him allegedly tampering with the soup, but he is unable to stop the wait staff from delivering the soup. Solène Leclerc, a cuisine critic, receives a bowl and enjoys the mixture. Skinner continues to want to fire Linguini, but another chef, Colette Tattoo, defends Linguini, arguing that doing so would go against the restaurant's guiding principle and negatively impact their reputation. Skinner gives up and lets Linguini remain. Remy tries to flee again, but Skinner notices him this time, and Linguini is able to capture Remy in a jar. Skinner commands Linguini to remove and kill the rat. Linguini brings Remy to a river, but he is unable to kill the rat. Linguini is aware that Skinner will anticipate a recipe replication because he believes the rat was the one who actually created the soup. Linguini brings the rat home and effectively adopts him after noticing that Remy can seem to understand him. The following morning, Linguini discovers Remy has purportedly taken food and fled, but in truth, he has prepared breakfast for them both. However, his joy is short-lived when he learns that they are late for their first day. Linguini searches for a covert way to have Remy prepare food when they get to the restaurant. They discover after a few tries that Remy can puppeteer Linguini by pulling on the boy's hair. Linguini and Remy decide that this is the best approach, so they spend their free time the following several days practicing cooking. They quickly succeed in recreating the soup that caught the critic's eye to perfection. Colette is chosen by Skinner to instruct Linguini in the finer nuances of haute cuisine. Since Colette is the only female chef and put a lot of effort into getting to where she is, she initially dislikes the task and sees Linguini as a potential danger to her standing. Skinner meets with an agent later that evening. We learn that Skinner has been profiting since Chef Gusteau's passing by licensing the Gusteau name and reputation to a line of low-cost frozen foods. After reading the letter from Linguini's mother for a moment, Skinner becomes alarmed and makes a lawyer call. Teddy Newton, the lawyer, says that according to Gusteau's will, Skinner will take over the restaurant if no heirs are found after 2 years, which will have passed in less than a month. According to the letter from Linguini's mother, since Linguini is Gusteau's son, he is entitled to be the successor. The attorney advises conducting a DNA test as well as a background check, but Skinner doesn't buy it. Colette starts teaching Linguini the finer points of cooking, and they start to get along. Remy is also paying close attention. One evening, a group of diners asks the head waiter Mustafa about what is new, because they are tired of consistently having Linguini soup. The staff begins to panic, but Skinner chooses to have Linguini make an old Gusteau-style sweetbreads recipe. Skinner is hoping that Linguini will fail because he is aware that Gusteau deemed the recipe a disaster. Colette starts to follow the recipe, but Linguini drastically changes it, which enrages her. But a short while later, Mustafa enters and claims that there are many more orders for the new concoction since the consumers love it. Later that evening, the other chefs celebrate Linguini's achievement. Knowing about Remy, Skinner invites Linguini into his office and produces a rare 1961 Chateau Latour in an effort to compel Linguini to divulge his secrets, but he is unsuccessful. Remy, who is outside taking a break, notices a strange person in the trash cans. When he realizes it's his brother Emile, he is shocked. Thrilled, Remy rushes inside to snatch some supplies so he may cook his brother dinner. Emile then transports Remy to the brand new colony. While Django is delighted to see his second son alive, he becomes enraged when Remy declares his desire to leave the colony. Remy reveals that he's observed humans and discovered that they're not as horrible as Django made them out to be. Django, however, insists that humans and rats must always be enemies and takes Remy to a business that specialized in rat killing. Remy, though, has a different viewpoint. He departs the settlement and returns to Linguini. Remy discovers Linguini still working in the restaurant the following morning, worn out from spending the previous night cleaning. He observes Colette pulling in and puts on a pair of sunglasses to cover Linguini's sleepiness. Colette smacks Linguini after becoming irritated with him for what she perceives to be his use of her counsel to impress and gain Skinner's favor. She tells Linguini, who is now awake and shocked, that she had love feelings for him and believed he was different from the other cooks. She then storms out in a huff. Linguini tries to confess his truth to Colette in an effort to make amends, but Remy, unable to let it go, pushes Linguini forward until he kisses Colette. She responds after a brief period of uncertainty, and the two start to get along. When his butler informs Anton Ego of Gusteau's resurgence in popularity, he is still in his study at the time. He makes the promise to go back and investigate after being stunned. The greatest suspicion of Skinner is realized when Skinner's attorney confirms Linguini is in fact Gusto's son. The will's expiration date is only 3 days away, so Skinner chooses to keep Linguini in the dark so he can fire Linguini without repercussions. Later that evening, Linguini leaves Remy behind and rides out on her motorcycle with Colette. Outside the restaurant, he comes upon Emile and a few other rats. Remy is angry that Emile leaked information about him, so he goes inside to acquire food to stop the other rats from telling the other rats in the colony. In the process of breaking into Skinner's office to get the food locker key, he discovers and reads the papers pertaining to Linguini's parentage. Remy attempts to steal the paperwork, but Skinner notices him trying to flee once more. Remy escapes after a prolonged pursuit, and Linguini discovers the truth. The Gusto frozen food line is stopped, Skinner is sacked, and Linguini takes over management of the establishment. A few days later, at a news conference, Linguini makes a valiant effort to defend his genius, while frustrating Remy. Then Anton Ego enters, greeting Linguini and vowing to return the following evening to give Gusto's another rating. After the meeting, Linguini complains to Remy about how the latter is making it difficult for him to concentrate. As his conceit grows, Linguini chooses to try working independently of Remy. Remy plans an attack on the eatery next night with the rest of his rat clan out of retaliation. When Linguini learns of it, he sends all the rats, including Remy, out and threatens to punish him. The way restaurants are supposed to treat pests, if he returns. Dejected, Remy withdraws into the night. Remy is discovered by Emile that evening while studying Linguini's subpar leadership close to the restaurant. A curiously positioned slice of cheese is then reached for by Emile, but Remy realizes it's a trap and is captured while attempting to save him. It turns out that Skinner, who wants Remy to work for him developing new frozen meals, created the trap. When Ego enters the restaurant, he challenges the chef to hit with your best shot, rather than choosing something from the menu. Skinner requests the same dish that is given to Ego because he wants to witness Linguini's demise. Remy is still crated when his father and brother release him. He returns to the restaurant to assist Linguini after being grateful. When the chefs see him coming back, they attempt to kill him, but Linguini intervenes and saves Remy while telling everyone the truth. The chefs, including Colette, leave in shock. Linguini withdraws to his office since he doesn't think Gusto's has any chance. Django enters and acknowledges his error, saying that seeing Linguini defend Remy has caused him to change how he feels about others. Django enlists the assistance of the entire rat colony, which will make the food as directed by Remy. A health inspector shows up just then and finds the kitchen overrun with rats. The inspector is surrounded by rats, headed by Django, who tie him up and imprison him in the pantry. The rats soon create a complex system under Remy's direction and are preparing all the meals for the restaurant after a complete cleaning in the kitchen's dishwasher. Knowing that someone must wait tables, Linguini dons a pair of skates and starts serving the customers. Colette returns to the restaurant after having a change of heart to assist Remy and Linguini. She queries Remy about what she wants to give Ego. Remy chooses Ratatouille, an older recipe that isn't typically up to Gusto's standards. The entree is soon ready and brought to Anton Ego. As soon as Ego takes a mouthful of the ratatouille, he had a flashback to when he was a boy and his mother had made the same dish to lift his spirits, following a bicycle accident. He feels so strongly about the food. Furious, Skinner marches into the kitchen where he and the health inspector are both bound and placed into the pantry. The delicious lunch warms Ego's heart, and he insists on thanking the chef, but is instructed to wait until all the other diners have left. Linguini, Colette, and Remy reveal the whole truth to Ego that evening. When Ego leaves the restaurant, he writes a glowing review for Gusto's, calling the chef the finest in Paris, while keeping the name of the chef a secret. Unfortunately, the luck is short-lived. Once the health inspector and Skinner are released, word spreads about the kitchen's inner workings, which results in Gusto's being closed down. Because he promoted a restaurant that was rat-infested, Ego lost his job and a lot of credibility. Remy claims that Ego is currently employed as a small business investor while narrating this tale to his family and a select group of acquaintances. It appears that Ego, Colette, Linguini, and Remy have created a restaurant called La Ratatouille, where both people and rats are welcome, and Gusteau's legacy continues. Ratatouille transcends its animated genre by addressing themes that resonate with audiences of all ages. It reminds us to embrace our uniqueness, pursue our passions with determination, and look beyond societal expectations. The film's message is subtly delivered, making it enjoyable for children and thought-provoking for adults. In conclusion, Ratatouille is a cinematic gem that continues to captivate audiences with its innovative storytelling, stunning animation, and universal themes. It invites us to savor life's flavors, chase our dreams, and embrace the unexpected. A masterful blend of heart and artistry, this film deserves a place in the pantheon of animated classics. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching our video. We hope you enjoyed the content and found it valuable. If you did, we kindly ask you to consider subscribing to our channel. By subscribing, you'll become part of our community, gaining access to more exciting videos, informative content, and engaging discussions. It's the best way to stay updated with all our latest releases and be the first to know when we publish something new. Subscribing to our channel is absolutely free, and it helps us tremendously in reaching a wider audience and producing even better content for you. Plus, it shows us that you appreciate what we do, and that means the world to us. So, if you haven't already, please take a moment to click that subscribe button below the video. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit the notification bell to receive alerts whenever we upload fresh content. Alerts whenever we upload fresh content. Alerts whenever we upload fresh